Well, my first answer is going to be, let's stop saying the word bipartisan. That's not fair. Let's say tripartisan. Let's say quadpartisan. Let's stop having a two-party corporatocracy, like I said. Let's actually start electing people to office who don't take corporate money. And that's not going to be a Democrat. It's not going to be a Republican. It's going to be a Green. It's going to be an avowed libertarian who says, I understand the problem. It's going to be an independent who doesn't take corporate money. It's going to be someone who believes in campaign finance reform, ballot access reform, clean elections. Somebody who actually believes in democracy, not someone who doesn't. Now, if you want to know what's wrong with Washington right now, I'll tell you in a nutshell. There's a room full of people here. I'm 46 years old. Educate me. What piece of legislation got passed in the last 46 years that benefited you if you work for a living? Can you name one? Now, I've had people answer this question because I ask it all the time. Sometimes, like, I don't know, the Ledbetter Act? People are pretty hesitant. And I say, well, you seem pretty heavily subscribed in the D you're wearing on the back or the R you're waving in my face, but you have no idea what these people are doing for you. You know why? Because they're not. They don't help any of us that work for a living at all, because they don't work for a living. They're not in the mines. They don't know what it's like. They don't get up early in the morning. They don't need to do any of those things. Maybe some of them are very driven to crush and oppress us, and they get up early in the morning to do that. I don't know. I think from the number of summer homes most of them have, they probably don't need to do that either. What I know is we need to stop electing them to office. And if you want to break this gridlock, first ask yourself, is it a bad thing? If you've got a bunch of corporate lobbyists sitting in Washington, D.C., having a fake political battle with each other on Fox TV and in the New York Times every day, what's the problem? I think that's great. They won't do anything. That's wonderful. But how do we reverse the process and come back to something that's actually positive? And the answer is, you don't just get me elected because you are brave voters. You inspire other Americans all around the country to realize we don't have to have a two-party system anymore, which has quite obviously become a one-party system. And it's not even run by a set of ideologies or thought processes or beliefs or principles anymore. Neither of them are. They're run based on profit margin. So please, don't send another business person to Washington, D.C. when what they mean by that is I'm a banker. Don't send them to Washington, D.C. if what they mean is, I run a business, I was part of the insurance bailouts. Don't send someone to D.C. who says, I worked for people who take all that money, because that's your money and mine. Send somebody to Washington, D.C. who doesn't take any public money at all, who bakes bread for a living with other people, who has common sense and principles, and who just wants you to be represented because he's one of you. Other people in the country will take note. And they'll be inspired, and we'll get 10 or 20 other people elected to Congress who aren't on that train. And then we'll have tripartisanship. Think about it.